Today, we are opening up the files on something that is, well, it's common, it's expensive, and it can be completely infuriating. We're talking about auto glass damage. And we are jumping into a deep dive on auto glass insurance coverage, specifically for you, the driver, navigating the roads and the unique climate of Portland, Oregon. Our mission is to take this whole stack of sources you provided. We're talking insurance policies, repair estimates, state statutes, and make absolute sense of what happens when that inevitable rock hits your windshield. And we're starting with, I think, a massive surprise. Oregon is not one of those states, like Florida or Arizona, that legally mandates zero deductible glass coverage. But despite that, our sources are showing that an estimated 80 to 90% of Portland drivers voluntarily carry it.
Right, as part of their comprehensive policy. And that high number, that uptake, it tells us something really critical about the local driving experience here. It shows that drivers know the risks intimately. But here's the kicker. Simply having the coverage is, well, it's only half the battle. We're going to break down why understanding the nitty-gritty of your policy, knowing if you have a $0 or maybe a $500 deductible, is the difference between a minor annoyance and a major financial hit.
Especially now, with all the tech in modern cars. Okay, so let's unpack this. When that awful ping happens, you're driving on I-5, maybe what part of your insurance policy actually kicks in? For pretty much everyone, this falls under comprehensive coverage.
That's your non-collision umbrella. Comprehensive protects you against almost anything other than hitting another car. So we're talking theft, vandalism, fire, hail, and, crucially for us, damage from stuff like rocks and gravel. And this kind of damage is statistically almost unavoidable in the Pacific Northwest. When a claim comes in, the first thing an adjuster looks at is the damage itself. Is it a small chip or is it a big crack?
Right, size and location. That determines if it's a repair or a full replacement. And that brings us straight to what I think is the single most important factor for your wallet. The glass deductible waiver. Or the buyback option.
That's it. That is the key piece of jargon you absolutely need to understand.
Well,
Absolutely. Because your standard comprehensive policy, it comes with a deductible. Often, between $250 and $500?
usually, yeah.
So if you have a $500 deductible and your windshield costs $400 to replace, you're paying the whole thing.
Right.
That waiver is a specific and often very cheap add-on to your policy.
So it's like paying a little extra each year to make sure glass is covered for free.
Exactly. Maybe 10 or 20 bucks a year to make sure that glass claims are processed with a $0 deductible, no matter what your main comprehensive deductible is for, theft or something else.
It's basically cheap insurance against a really likely problem.
Right. And some insurers even bundle it in automatically with their premium plans.
But if you don't know if you have it, you need to check your declarations page, like right now.
And if you look at the big picture, it's all about frequency versus severity. Let's just analyze the financial reality for a minute. For a car that's, say, 10 years old with standard glass, a full replacement is usually somewhere between $200 and $400. If you're on top of it and you catch a small chip, anything under 6 inches, the repair is way cheaper, maybe $50 to $150.
Okay, but this is where it gets really interesting and, unfortunately, a lot more expensive. We have to talk about all the new cars on the road today with Advanced Driver Assistance Systems, ADS.
This is the modern complexity that's baked right into your windshield. ADS includes all those systems, like lane keep assist, automatic braking, adaptive cruise control.
Things my car does that I don't even fully understand.
And many of them rely on cameras and sensors that are literally integrated into the glass. They need a perfect, crystal clear view of the road.
So if you have one of those cars, the replacement cost just skyrockets. We're talking a range of maybe $500 on the low end, but it can easily climb to $1,500 or even more.
And it's not just because the glass itself is fancier. It's the step that comes after the glass is installed. It's the mandatory calibration.
Which is non-negotiable for safety, right?
Completely non-negotiable. When a new windshield goes in, the sensor array needs to be recalibrated, basically told exactly where it is in relation to the car and the road. That process needs special equipment. Sometimes it's done in a shop. Sometimes it means a technician has to drive the car for a while.
Okay, so we've gone from a $400 windshield to a $1,500 bill, and that includes an hour or two of calibration time. This is why that glass waiver is so critical.
It is. If you don't have it and you need that full replacement, you're paying your standard deductible first.
Yeah.
$250, $500, whatever it is. But there is an important point here about how insurance companies think. They want to prevent huge losses. So they will almost always waive your deductible for minor repairs, for those little chips.
Because it saves them money in the long run.
It's a mutual benefit. A $50 repair today saves them a $1,500 claim tomorrow. So if you get a chip, you should call your insurer immediately.
All right, let's shift gears a bit to the actual logistics. You're in Portland, the rock hits, you've confirmed you need service. How painful is the claims process? Because I remember the old days of being on hold forever. Our sources say that in Portland, filing a windshield claim is surprisingly fast, usually less than 15 minutes. You can do it on an app or online, just plug in your car info, describe the damage and how it happened.
Yeah, and you almost never need a police report, unless it was, vandalism or an accident with another car. The efficiency is pretty striking. Once that claim is approved, which is fast for glass, the whole thing from approval to installation is usually just 24 to 48 hours.
And they'll come to you, right?
Yeah.
Mobile service is huge.
Very popular. They can come to your office or your home. The only thing that complicates it is, again, ADS calibration. That might require a trip to a proper shop.
And this is a really critical point for consumers, something specific to Oregon law that gives you power. Drivers here have the legal right to choose any licensed and insured auto blast shop.
That's right. You are not locked into your insurer's recommended list.
So you don't have to go where they tell you to go.
You don't. But that does create a bit of a dilemma, because using an in-network or a preferred provider does have its advantages, mainly convenience.
They just bill the insurance company directly.
Direct billing, guaranteed pricing, less paperwork for you. If you go to an independent shop, you might have to pay up front and then wait to get reimbursed.
But the trade-off could be expertise, especially with that high-tech ADS stuff.
Exactly. An insurer's preferred shop might be a high-volume place. A local independent shop might actually specialize in calibrating your specific type of car, offering a more precise, safety-critical job, even if it means a little more hassle for you with the bill.
Let's circle back and connect all this to where we live. Why is that 80 to 90% coverage rate so high here in Portland? I mean, we don't get the crazy hailstorms they get in the Midwest. What is it about our climate that's so tough on glass?
Portland's environment is just a perfect storm for glass damage. It's a mix of thermal and geological factors. You've got frequent rain, big temperature swings, especially in spring and fall, and then you have the local road debris. It's a constant assault on your windshield.
You mean the stuff they use on the roads in the winter?
Specifically, yeah. Think about the sand and gravel they use in the mountain passes, like on I-84 and Highway 26 heading to Mount Hood. That coarse aggregate gets all over the city's main roads. When a truck kicks it up at 60 miles an hour, it creates chips. And what's worse is in the winter, the debris is hidden by wet roads, and then the temperature swings from freezing to sunny.
And a tiny chip becomes a giant crack.
The giant stress crack, yeah. It just spreads right across the glass.
You can see that so clearly in the claims data. The winter spike is because the temperature change finishes the job the debris started.
Yep. A chip is manageable. A crack that spiders across your line of sight is a mandatory replacement. It's why local adjusters are so fast with these claims. They see it all the time. It's just a hazard of driving here.
Okay, but let's address the elephant in the room. The question everyone really has. Will filing a comprehensive glass claim make my insurance premiums go through the roof?
Generally, the answer is pretty stable. No, it typically won't. Glass claims are almost always seen by carriers as unavoidable, not at fault incidents.
So they don't blame you for a flying rock.
They know you can't dodge a rock. They treat it more like a natural disaster than a reflection of your driving skill. So one claim usually won't affect your renewal rate.
Usually. But there's always a but with insurance, isn't there?
There is. While one claim won't hurt you, they do look at your overall claims history. So if you start filing multiple claims, say 3 glass claims in 18 months, plus maybe a theft claim, that frequency can raise a red flag.
So it's not the one big claim, it's a pattern of small ones.
Exactly. It might suggest a higher risk profile for you or your car, and that could indirectly affect your renewal price. It's a subtle difference. But ultimately, using your insurance makes a ton of financial sense, especially if you're looking at a $1,500 ADS replacement. And the benefit goes beyond just the cost. Insurance-covered replacements, especially through good networks, often come with better warranties. The shops have to use high-quality, OEM-equivalent glass and the right materials.
And you get peace of mind. That's huge in a modern car. Knowing your coverage means you don't have to cut corners on safety just because of cost. You get the precise installation, the mandatory calibration, and you know your lane assist is going to work exactly like it's supposed to.
Right. You don't want your car misreading the road because a camera is off by a single millimeter.
So what does this all boil down to for you, the Portland driver? The immediate actions seem pretty clear. First, pull out your policy. Look specifically for that glass deductible waiver and understand that huge cost difference between a simple repair 50 to 150 bucks and a high-tech replacement that could be 1500.
And that urgency is everything here. Because of our climate, those temperature swings, you have to act on a chip immediately. That tiny $100 repair that's often covered with no deductible can easily become a full $400 plus replacement if you just wait a week.
Which brings us back to that idea of consumer choice. Given that Oregon law protects your right to choose any shop, how do you weigh that? How much importance do you put on the convenience of direct billing versus finding a local expert who specializes in your car's complex ADS system? When your safety sensors are on the line, what's more important to you? Streamlined paperwork or specialized safety-critical calibration? That's the deeper question we'd encourage you to think about when you review your coverage. We'll see you next time for the deep dive.